Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ferndale City Council meeting for Monday, July 10th, 2017. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Council members Leaks May.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Pollica.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Piana.
Here.
And Mayor Coulter.
Here. Thank you. And we have a quorum this evening. Next item of business would be the approval of the agenda.
I'd move that we approve the agenda as presented.
With a modification. We need to add a presentation.
All right.
Did anyone get that note?
No.
Yes.
The police chief would like to add a presentation, and we'll make him the first presentation.
I would like to then propose we accept the agenda as modified.
Support.
All right. Moved by Martin, supported by Pollica. Is there any discussion on the agenda? All right. Marnie, would you call the roll?
Council members Leaks May.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Pollica.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. The agenda is adopted. So now moving on to presentations, and Chief Collins, I believe you have a presentation for us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Your Honor. We wanted to present, first we want to give a little bit of background. Many people know and some people don't about our early college program. We are now at the conclusion of the second year of the program. The two individuals standing to my right are high school graduates, one from Ferndale High School, one from University High School. We call this part Phase 1 has been completed. Phase 2, we have, the city has allowed us to hire two of the individuals in the program to go and work as interns, or what we are calling cadets, for the summer. These are full-time positions, paid, and they will be experiencing every asset and every facet of police work that they can experience in these next couple of weeks. As we go forward with that, as they begin their college careers, the plan is for them to work as part-time cadets while they are attending Baker College. And I'll get into there's been a little bit of a curveball thrown to us, but not a bad one, and I'll tell you how that works. First, I'd like to introduce, because after we get them out of the college realm, our plan is to get them into the police academy and hopefully get them back here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. First,
Don't be going to some other city now.
I'll tell you. We'll talk about Tanea first. This is Tanea Kellum. She is a University High School graduate. She was a 3-year member of the track team. She was the lead mediator for their peer mediation program that she explained during the interview process. That she was telling us that anytime there's conflict between students, that it was her job, and she did this all 4 years and became the student leader right underneath the director from the district. And she would sit down with and whatever the conflicts were, they would mediate those into a resolution. So we thought that was a great thing to have in law enforcement. It was a great attribute to have. The downside of Tanea is that she wants to go into the federal system. Now, we will support Tanea in everything that she wants to do. However, it's not like this is a secret, we told Tanea that we'll be working very diligently to tell her about how great local law enforcement is. Back to us. Now, only time will tell on that.
Yeah, right.
But we have, she has been paired with two mentors from the department. She's met them, and she'll be working with them, and they will be making sure that she sees everything that's on our checklist that we want her to see. Excellent. So, welcome, Tanea.
Yay!
The other young man standing next to me is Ronell McGee. Ronell is a 4-year FHS student. He is a 3-year letterman in football. He's a 4-year letterman in wrestling, and he is a 4-year letterman in track. So he was also the president of the SLS organization, which was Students Leading Students. And he also worked with the Southeast Coalition a lot on a lot of their, and The one thing that we really liked about Ronell during his interview process is how much he volunteered his time. He, very little time for himself. He was always doing things for other kids and always helping out, so he's a really good find. The downside is that we will have him for the summer. At the late in the end of the year, Ronell got offered a scholarship to wrestle at Muskegon Community College, which he has accepted. So we will not have him as a Baker College student going forward, but he is still continuing his studies in criminal justice. So when we get back, Ronell's goal is to be a local police officer. So we are going to work very diligently to see if we can get Ronell back here and work with him.
Excellent.
So, Ronell, maybe.
Chief, how many potential cadets did you have to choose from? How many were in the program?
What did we end up with in your guys' class? Was there 12 left? Yeah, we started with 16. I think we ended up with 12. Many of them that are in the criminal justice were not directly interested in going into local law enforcement. Ronell really was the only one that really had his heart set going there. And then all of your support and a little bit of nudging, we hope to get another one too. So, only time will tell on that.
Well, welcome.
What we have, as I talked to the city manager, and there is what is now a junior going to be a senior year when the school starts again in the fall, and Ronell has moved on. We may bring one of the seniors over for to fill that part-time job, seeing how that has been budgeted, and we'll work that out as we go forward. But that's the plan as we're at right now.
Excellent. Great.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you. Be safe and have a successful summer. Thanks. Thanks, you guys. All right. Our next presentation is Ferndale Recreation, and I see Lorena, our Recreation Director, is here. Are you ready, Lorena? Or?
I just have to clue them.
That's no, all right. Yep. We're good.
Gone to DVA. Maybe if she needs more time. Doing some stuff. No, yeah, that's good.
Give her a minute.
So what is this?
And we do have another presentation, Lorena. Would you rather have them go next? That is not a problem. So, Barry, I think that means you, Barry Hicks, our Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority, is here with us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you. Yeah, I do have a presentation, and it looks like it's still here. That's good. Yeah, so I just wanted to come in tonight, and I also want to thank some of the members of my board of directors who have shown up to support this evening. I'm just kind of doing a middle of the year check-in, and I realized the date on this slide is wrong because I intended to give this 2 weeks ago, but we had some scheduling conflicts, so I'm glad I could come here tonight and do this for you guys.
Yeah.
Basically, I just want to give you some updates, what's been going on up to this point for the first half of 2017 and sort of where we're going to be heading. So the first thing I just wanted to bring to your attention was the National Main Street Conference this year was a big success. There were a total of 6 of us that went. That includes staff and volunteers from the DDA, so we covered a lot of sessions. We were represented through Main Street Oakland County, as you can see from one of the slides there, along with a lot of our other partners throughout the county, too. I thought this year's session went really great. My first one was last year, 2016, of course, and as good as that one was, I thought the information we received was definitely stepping up their game a little bit, so I'm really excited, looking forward to next year. I think everybody got something out of that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about were the Main Street Oakland County, the main event awards that took place back in May. And I can't believe I'm just now getting around to giving some of these announcements. So you've probably seen some of these in your council briefs, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because we have a lot of people that put some time and effort into these things to make our community a great place. The first award that was won is there on the left, which you're all familiar with, the bus shelter at the corner of Woodward and 9 Mile. That won on a shoestring budget. And it was for the renovation and reinvention of that bus shelter, also through our partnership with SMART, and also the volunteers that came out and helped support it. We spent less than $200 and had a lot of materials donated to us, and time from not only the volunteers, but the DPW department assisted us with this as well. So we received recognition for that, and I really want to thank Dustin Bowerman Hagfors for coming out and helping us from our design committee, because he's done a tremendous job with all this. And I also want to thank Chris Best from the Rust Belt Market that donated a lot of the landscaping material on top, and the time and effort and research that he put into it. Which leads me to the next thing I wanted to announce was a big congratulations to Chris and Tiffany Best for winning Business of the Year. And it was for their entrepreneurial spirit and for their community-mindedness for projects like this, and their participation and just kind of giving back, whether it's financially or with in-kind services. They've done a lot for our community. They've helped host several events over the years, as you guys are well aware, and I'm sure have attended. So we were really happy to see that they won the Business of the Year this year. And that is of all businesses in downtowns throughout Oakland County. So it was pretty impressive. Also, on May 18th, the Ferndale DDA partnered up with their recreation, police, and fire departments and the Ferndale Rotary for Bike Night. This was, as you know, our family-friendly event. Kids could come out, get training on, how to obey the rules of the road, learn how to fix their bikes and everything. So we were happy to be able to do that again this May. And in June 8th, Ferndale received their accreditation for 2017 as a Main Street community. We are at a select level still, which is the highest level achievable through the Main Street Oakland County program. This is due to our innovative and trend-setting strategic plan with continued commitment to community service and creative implementation of projects that help make downtown Ferndale a great place to be. Also this year, the Art of the Cocktail took place back on June 15th, and this event was held at Embrew and Valentine Distilling Company on Vester Street, as it has been in past years. We had over 100 people attend to taste craft cocktails. We also had a special guest with us crafting some of those cocktails, Mindy Couples from our board. And you did a great job with that, too. And I want to congratulate, though, our winner, Sam Sage from Go Comedy. And I wanted to thank all of those who participated and donated to the silent auction and the support from our sponsors. Because of all of those people that were involved, we were able to raise over $3,000 this year for public art in downtown Ferndale through the Art Town program.
That's awesome.
Coming up next is Get Real, which happens throughout the summer, starting in July, the third Thursday of each month, July, August, and September. The dates you can see there, July 20th, August 17th, and September 21st. This year we have Disney's Moana, Ghostbusters, and Pretty in Pink playing. The movies begin at sundown on those evenings, so of course the July movie starts a little later than the September movie. But it's free. Everyone is welcome to come downtown, set up on Vester Street, as you can see in the photo there. There's, we set up the large inflatable screen. And so we encourage you to come out and enjoy the show. And I also want to thank our title sponsor, Krieger Plumbing, for a generous donation to help make this event possible. Also, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on some of the statistics. These are statistics that we report to the National Main Street program. And this is the first 6 months kind of snapshot looking at 2017. The volunteer hours are at about 2,600 right now, and I just really wanted to point that out because that's phenomenal to see that kind of participation up to this point. So again, really grateful to have the volunteers that we have, the people that not only regularly come out every month, but that also go out and support our events and help work those things like Art of the Cocktail. We're very appreciative of that. And then In closing, I just encourage you to keep an eye on your council briefs for more updates, including the status of the DDA's ongoing efforts with outreach to businesses as part of our business retention program. I can tell you right now, we've probably visited around 45 to 50 businesses that are in the core part of downtown along 9 Mile. I'm sure I've been to at least half of those or more myself, and it's been really encouraging to get feedback and be able to talk with the businesses about what's going on with parking downtown and kind of help give out some information, get feedback from all of them. It's been extremely helpful. And then also, we're looking at working on our communication plan, which you've already seen the Ferndale Forward logo that's come out. That is going to, there's another presentation coming up this week, 8 a.m. on Thursday at the DDA board meeting that will go a little bit more into what some of those things are that we're going to communicate and kind of what that's going to look like going forward. That will continue to evolve. Obviously, we're working very closely with the city on how we're going to communicate information as well for the mixed-use parking structure. And then also to continue to tell that story of over $40 million that will be invested in both public and private investments happening in Ferndale scheduled over the next couple of years. So we're really excited about that too. And that is all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Excellent. Anyone have any questions of Barry?
Okay, if I may, through the chair. Can you go back a slide for me with your year-to-date? The 2,600 volunteer hours is fantastic. How does that compare to this time last year?
You know what? I'd have to get you the number for last year.
I'd be curious to know how we're trending because
Sure.
it feels stronger, but it would be nice to kind of validate that.
I can tell you it's a little higher. I don't.
Okay.
It's probably not a lot higher, but I could get you that number. Yeah.
All right. And then when I really congratulate you for doing retention visits. I think those are very helpful and something that businesses have been asking for. Is there a way in those conversations, is the feedback you're getting from businesses not just related to the DDA, but maybe city issues? How's that funneling back up to city staff?
So right now, if we do get anything, we're just tracking it in a database, and then if we have something specific, we're just forwarding on to the corresponding department, if it's DPW or community development or whoever it might be, if we do hear anything that they can help with.
Okay, because I'd encourage you, because I can see you being in a situation where you're out there representing the DDA, but something comes up that may be outside of the boundaries of the DDA that you need city support on. So I want to make sure we're responsive to, what you hear there as well, just as we would if we heard stuff about the DDA.
Yeah.
Great. That's it. Thank you.
Other comments or questions for Barry? No. All right. Thank you. I would echo what you said, which is 3 of the board members are here. I just want to acknowledge them. The chair of the board, Dean Bach, owner of Dino's, Embrews, and many other fine establishments. Good to see you, Dean. Mike Hennis from Howes Bayou. If you haven't had their catfish, you're missing out. And he's the previous past chair, right? And Mindy Couples, the resident representative on the board. So thanks. Good to see you guys. All right. Thanks. Now, Lorena, are we set up for the Recreation Department presentation?
All right, I may need a little assistance. Is there a cord to plug in here?
Oh, you didn't already load it on? You didn't load it on yet?
No.
Tell you what, let's get that loaded. We'll do the regular,
Okay.
do the consent while
We'll
we
come
get that
back.
figured out. Sorry, yeah, I didn't know to tell you.
Joe's on leave. We don't have our IT guy. All right. We do have a public hearing this evening. Oh, no, well, before that, I'm sorry. Yes, we have call to audience. So this is the audience's opportunity to address council on anything that you'd like that's not on the agenda, because you can speak to that when we get to that portion of the agenda. But come on up, give us your name, your address, and 3 minutes is yours. Mindy.
Hi, Mindy Couples, 354 East Marshall Street. I just wanted to bring to council's attention, right now they're working on East Marshall Street with redoing the paving and things. I was happy to see that it was going to be done, but I'm not sure that I'm happy right now with the outcome. I'm not an engineer, but it just looks like some of the work that's being done isn't what I would expect. In some cases, the asphalt is higher than the curbs. There's cracked driveways that aren't being re-cemented, and they're just going to put 3 inches of asphalt over them. I would think that the asphalt's not going to last as long on a cracked surface. So, like I said, I'm not. What's nice about Ferndale, I think, is some of the things that are very uniform and, you know, the tree-lined streets, the nice curb appeal, literally, right? The curbs help the water flow. But I see, and they're not completely done, I understand that, but there is some, like, standing water in areas, which tells me something's not right with the way with the way the construction was done on this street. And so I just wanted to call it to your attention. And I did call the DPW last week, and I left them a message too.
And I know April has stepped out, but I know that she's aware of these issues as well from you and other residents. I don't know from a DPW perspective if I know Lloyd isn't here this evening, but if you're aware of how those issues are being addressed or.
They're actually going to be addressed tomorrow. There's a meeting with the engineer and the contractor, and that's one of the streets that popped up. They may have only put their first lift. When you go, you can only go so big when you do your first pave. So it's normally like 2 inches.
So, I hate to do this to you, but do you mind standing up and doing that? Just because anybody at home that's trying to hear the answer won't hear you.
This issue did come up. There's a meeting tomorrow with the contractor and the engineer to go over the issues at hand. You can't pave at 2 inches or more at once. You got to go in lifts of 2 inches per time. So there is a meeting tomorrow. If you want, you can give me your personal information, contact information, and we can have Lloyd call you back tomorrow to discuss what's going on.
Great.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Mindy. Anyone else like to address council this evening? Afraid I wouldn't call on you at the end, right?
You may again. I just wanted to remind residents in near downtown that this weekend is Pig and Whiskey, and that will mean a bit more congestion certainly around the east side of Woodward. Lots, 9 and 10, the Falvey lot and Library lot will be closed for the event. There will be street closures, East 9 Mile from Woodward to Bermuda. Woodward to Bermuda will be completely closed. Local traffic to the end of the event, which is pretty much right outside City Hall. So there will be a little bit of parking available for event participants. Signs will be up, barricades will be up in the residential streets affected by it to direct traffic away from there, and enforcement will be in full effect for residential parking restrictions. And on the note of residential parking, August is the renewal period for residential permits. Again, there is currently no fee. And you can, residents will be alerted in multiple forms. We'll probably be distributing flyers around the neighborhoods, as well as direct mails likely, and registered emails will go out.
If I may, through the chair, is it possible to get updated statistics about our activity on the residential streets in the program? How many tickets we've issued, et cetera?
Yes. Offhand,
you don't have to answer now.
Okay.
If you could come back with
yes,
the report.
we do have those pulled together. I can get back to you on those.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No?
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Anyone else like to address council this evening? All right. Seeing none, are we ready for recreation? Are we
No,
loaded?
it's.
Nope, we're not
It's
going
our
to
first
work.
time doing it. I didn't.
It's not going to work. All right.
We'll do it next time.
All right. Very good. Then we will move on to the public hearing. And this evening we have a public hearing on 1924 Romeo Street, special land use for a home child daycare. Excuse me. And Jordan, do you want to introduce that item, please?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. As you mentioned, this is a special land use request to allow a state-licensed residential group child care home at the subject site, which is 1924 Romeo Street, which is the Learning Bug Preschool. And I think we have Ms. Rosario here to speak as well. I'll just kind of quickly tee it up. Essentially, currently she runs a facility with our zoning the way it is. It's limited to 6 persons, 6 children in the facility. She's seeking a request to move that up to 12. At the Planning Commission back on June 21st, it was unanimously approved, and we heard a lot from residents and parents who use the facility. So they made their case well, and it's been in the neighborhood since, I believe, 2015. So what's before you today is sort of the last stop on the process of getting that approved. And I'll let the applicant kind of speak a little bit more about the facility.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mary Lee Rosario. I am the organizer of Learning Bug Preschool. It's my own little project, and I love it dearly. I currently do have a wait list and parents that want to be in my program. I just don't have room for them with the current limitation of 6 children in my program. I'm at capacity, like I said, and we have done a lot of new things with our program, and we have field trips, and we visit the zoo and the libraries. We take advantage of all the programs that are located in Ferndale. On our side of Woodward, there's only 6 programs that have kids, and only one of them is 12. I'm 6, and then there's a latchkey program and another program. We've already lost one other home daycare provider, which was at 12. And she was a friend of mine that owns Homegrown Kids. So now we're down to that. And then 3 is not even in Ferndale, but it's on the border of Ferndale and Royal Oak. So I'm just hoping that you guys can, look over the information that I've given you. And I have parents with me that will vouch for how great that our little program is. We do community gardening, and we play in the backyard. None of the neighbors even really mind that we're out there. Yeah, kids can be loud, but we take the necessary precautions to make sure that the kids are, they understand that some of the neighbors are sleeping, and we have to be respectful to our voices, use outside voices, and not necessarily scream and like little crazy people that they can be. 6 kids is a lot, 12 would be even more, but I think I feel really confident in my abilities to be able to provide such a service, and especially on our side of Ferndale. We have businesses that are coming into the neighborhood, and you guys all know the train. So it's hard for some parents to even get to me when that train is there. So if they were to come around taking 75 to the house, they're not going through residential neighborhoods. It's 1 block from 9 Mile. And my driveway accommodates 4 cars. My garage accommodates 2 additional cars. There's plenty of parking, for real quick pickups. I've given you guys the statistics of, our Ferndale residents and their commute. And I know this is the first stop that they look for is in their community to find programs that fit their child care needs and their educational needs. I have a bachelor's from Colorado State University, and I think that, my public education, working for Detroit Public Schools and working for Southgate Guidance Center, does give me an advantage over a lot of the programs that they might not have those qualifications and that experience. And I'm giving kids an opportunity to have more education, but in a smaller sense. We have 2 kids currently and 1 on a wait list that has nut allergies. They cannot go to public schools right now because it's such a hard thing to control in these settings. So I guess that's what I got right now.
Okay, good. So this is a public hearing. So at this time, I would like to ask if there's anyone here from I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here from the public that would like to address council on this proposed land use special request this evening.
This is one of my moms. She co-ops with us, so I do offer a cooperative. So some of the parents come in and they help out and volunteer with reduction in child care.
Oh, great. So good evening.
Good evening. She's very excited. My name is Alex Flegel, like Mary Lee said. My daughter attends Learning Bug. She has for a year and a half. I chose her school because I did get a job in Ferndale and I needed somewhere that was close by so that if I needed to pick up if my child is sick or if I wanted to accompany on a field trip, it wouldn't add a lot of time for me. And luckily I found Mary Lee, and she's been above and beyond anything that I found during my search. We've opted to stay with her much longer than I anticipated. Instead of choosing to send her into a different school program. And it's really allowed us to have the opportunity to engage with the community that I don't live in. We live over in Hamtramck, but the community that I work in, I love working here. I love taking her to the different places that are around. And I just wanted to offer my support, and that's her version of support. Opening up the program to allow more kids to have the same experience that we were able to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to say anything?
Wow.
She's not the first one to spit at us, Snort.
Well, she's only 4. So she's 4, and she's like her mom said, she has the opportunity to put her into a public school that, a GSRP program, early preschool program, and she opted to stay with me, even though she does pay a tuition. So, but we're working out a cooperative situation where, some of the parents do have opportunities to, come in, volunteer, and, take advantage of all that, help us out and see what we do during our day. So, and I know that not a lot of programs have such an open door, but I do have that because I just believe in being as transparent as possible for the families that I work with.
Okay. So is there anyone else from the public that would like to address council this evening? All right, I'll close the public hearing, and I will ask council if they have any comments or questions this evening.
All right. I actually have a comment. Because I believe that there's going to be some sort of potential or perceived conflict with my vote on this, I'm going to recuse myself from this and from all discussions and at this time.
All right. Fair enough. Yep. How about anyone else on council?
I have a question. It might be directed toward Jordan on this one. I noticed that there was something in the packet that says a minimum requirement of 300 square feet. Is that for a 12 children outdoor space? Is that for a 12 child program? Like, is there a per square footage per kid ratio?
There is a square footage for kids, but usually the state requires that it to be 300 square feet, but the children do have the entirety of the backyard. For indoor use, it's 35 square feet per children, so the classroom space is 500 square feet.
Okay. Yeah, because the yard, I took a drive yesterday, and so I looked at the house, and as much as I could in the backyard, you have a very high fence, so I couldn't see much, and I didn't want to scare anybody thinking that I was,
You could have came and knocked and introduced yourself, and we would have let you in the backyard. As long as there's a grown-up in the house, visitors, none of my family really visits, but I have to have an additional adult in the house. Anytime we even have a play date or we call it a play date, it's an interview with another family. So there's always somebody there at home. So if you would have came in and introduced yourself, we wouldn't have no problem letting you in the backyard. But they do have a grassy area they get to play, and they run and we play with the slip and slide and the little blow-up pool and things like that. Behind, there should be on page 4 of the packet, there should be a picture of our backyard. There is a separate area with a playscape, and then behind the garage, there's a 20-foot long sandbox. Mm-hmm. So that's in addition, there's so many areas that they can play with in addition to the patio that it's shaded so we can have lunch and things like that outside. Like right now, other than today, we've been outside since June, outside enjoying just being outside. And oh my goodness, it's such a benefit to have an area for them to play in.
Sure. And the neighbors have been all notified within a radius of the, okay.
Question maybe for Jordan, or maybe it's Dan, I don't know, but what is our recourse? I'm inclined to support this. I think it's a great project, but should it go south for some reason and all of a sudden the neighbors realize, what the heck did we do? What is the recourse to revisit?
There's requirements with the state for a group family daycare like this, and should this special land use approval go through, then any concerns associated with the operation of the facility would be reported to the state.
Okay.
But it would be a special land use that would be granted based on the conditions of the proposed resolution in council's material. So it would not be subject to being rescinded.
Revocation, but we would.
It's not a license from the city that is being at issue here. It's special land use for operation of the daycare under the zoning ordinance.
Gotcha. Okay. Other comments or questions?
Just through the chair,
Yeah.
Jordan, I wasn't clear, but at the planning commission, did the planning commission approve the site plan?
Yes, I believe so.
Other comments or a motion?
I move in the matter of 1924 Romeo Street, Group Residential Child Care Home, that City Council approve the special land use based on plans dated June 1st, 2017, with the findings listed.
Support.
Moved by Piana and seconded in a photo finish by Councilman Martin. Other final discussions?
I just wanted to say these proposals to expand childcare from 6 to 12 come few and far between, and clearly we have a dearth of childcare for young children in Ferndale. It's very difficult for moms, parents, dads to find a place where they feel safe and secure. And so I think the last application we got was 2 years ago.
Wow.
So over on Bowfield. And a lot of the same questions came up. And so I appreciate that you're providing this really critical service to our families here in Ferndale and those who work in our community, because having accessible child care to where you work or where you live is really important to a high quality of life for your family. So good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Martin,
Yes.
Polika,
Yes.
Piana,
Yes.
and Mayor Coulter.
Yes, thank you. That item is adopted. Congratulations. All right, moving on now to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda is items that council considers routine, and we enact in one motion unless council pulls something for the consent agenda. So let me read that now. Item A is the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held June 26, 2017. Item B is the approval to adopt the resolution authorizing the city clerk to submit the Help America Vote Act grant application on behalf of the city of Ferndale, Oakland County. Item C is the approval to adopt the resolution calling on the Michigan legislature to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Item D is the approval to backfill 2 vacant grade 1 laborers, as well as conduct a promotional process to fill the vacant crew leader position within DPW. Item E is the approval to authorize the attached changes to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Ferndale and the Ferndale Fire Department IAFF Local 812 for the period of July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2020. Item F is the approval to extend the City of Ferndale's contract with OLSA through June 30th, 2019, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract as presented by our Community Economic Development Director. Item G is the approval of the Safe Built contract extension for a period of 12 months for the Community Development Department as recommended by the CED Director, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract as presented. Item H is the approval of the purchase and installation of emergency equipment for F11 and 12 fire inspectors vehicle from Synergy Products in the amount of $7,795.30 to be charged to the account mentioned. Item I is the approval to authorize the attached changes to the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Ferndale and the DPW yard for the period of July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2019. Item J is the approval to appoint Cecil Thompson to the Board of Review for a term ending December 31st, 2018. And item K is the approval to pay the bills and payroll as submitted by the city manager and subject to the review of the Council Finance Committee. What is council's pleasure on the consent agenda?
I move to support the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Moved by Polika and supported by Leaks May. Now, questions or comments on the consent agenda? First of all, is Cecil Thompson here? Just since we're,
Cecile, she works for the city.
huh?
Cecile?
But Cecile, I'm sorry. She's not here, though. Okay. Just thought I'd introduce her. Anything else? All right, Marnie, would you call the roll on the consent agenda, please?
Councilmembers Polika?
Yes.
Piana?
Yes.
Leaks May?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. The consent agenda is adopted. Moving on now to the regular agenda. Item A is the appointment to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Who's going to introduce that item? Oh, all right. Jordan, why don't you introduce
I can
it?
do that. I always wait to see if anyone on council wants to do the appointments. But
appreciate it.
I have to say that I'm really excited for the fact that Ms. Kenalois volunteered. Her experience is incredible. She's with the DEGC. She's a real ringer for Brownfields. I think it's going to be a really great addition to the team.
Agreed. And this is a mayoral appointment, but with confirmation of council. And I would second what Jordan said, and I think we found another outstanding candidate. So, Jordan, thank you for, I don't know if you directly found her or she found us, but...
I can't take any credit for that one. I opened the email, we'll say that. How about that? But
well done.
there you go.
I'm going to jump in and just.
Please do.
I move to confirm the appointment of Jennifer Kenalois as an alternate to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a term ending December 31st, 2019.
Support.
Piana and Martin again. Is Jennifer here, by the way? All right. All right. Any discussion, further discussion on this item?
It's like having an expert from our field on our board. It's fabulous.
Right.
Oh.
Truly. Good. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmembers Piana?
Absolutely.
Leaks May?
Yes.
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Polika?
Yes.
And Mayor Coulter?
Yes, thank you. That appointment is adopted. Thank you, Jordan. And now, regular agenda item B is a build partnership presentation.
Build Institute.
The Build Institute. Thank you. And the council should have each received some information. So, Jordan, are you going to introduce our guests?
Yes. So I have with me April Jones Boyle of the Build Institute, and also I apologize, Christiane Malone, who is also part of her team as well. They're going to give you the details in terms of what Build Institute is, what they do, and what they're all about. But just to kind of tee this off, this is one piece of a partnership that the CED department is putting together for council's consideration. There will be no voting action tonight. This is sort of an informational presentation to give you a little more context about one piece of this partnership, which is around creating and cultivating an ecosystem of small business and entrepreneurship support. You can see in your packet, it kind of talks about the different components of that partnership. One of the big ones is cultivating sustained engagement of the small businesses and providing them with skills, training, and mentorship and networking among peers and also resource providers. And Build Institute has demonstrated their ability to do that in the city of Detroit. And so we had reached out to them to discuss ways that we could possibly look at having them perform that service here in Ferndale. And so again, today, April and her team are going to give you the information about what Build is all about. They're going to kind of talk about their history, talk about how they define success and how they work as an organization. But our goal would be to, if all the information is kind of gleaned today, we'd also like to hear from you and council in terms of your metrics for success for this partnership that we will then come back to you either at the end of July or first meeting in August with funding requests and with details on agreements and partnership details that we can put together and launch this in the winter. So without further ado, I mean, all the information is there in your packet. Of course, I'm here for questions, but I imagine we want to give most of the attention to Build today. So without further ado, April, please.
Great. Well, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us, Honorable Mayor and City Council. This is exciting and scary all at the same time. My first council presentation.
We're a pretty friendly group.
And I am a Pleasant Ridge resident, so Ferndale has a very special place in my heart. So as Jordan said, I'm April Boyle, founder and director of Build Institute, and this is Christiane Sims Malone, our program director. Let me just pull this out. Great. So we're Build Institute, and we believe that, and not only do we believe, but Harvard University believes, that entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources currently controlled. And we'll get into a little bit more about what that means. So Build is in turning into a super hub of inclusive innovation that catalyzes talent for economic and community development. Our mission is to, I have this in front of me so I don't have to look up there, that's great, is to empower people to launch ideas and grow businesses by providing access to education, resources, and a supportive, engaged community. And we believe that Detroit, Metro Detroit, including Ferndale, this is a regional economy, will be the global leader in equitable entrepreneurship. And we're going to play a little video that sort of captures our spirit. Uh-oh, is there sound?
Should be. The volume is up on here.
Let's see.
Pause. Go ahead and hit that pause button. Yeah. Oh, allegedly the volume is up on here, so I apologize. We really need to tell Joe to just come back from maternity leave and then just.
I think you need to deepen that bench a little.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Apparently we need to do some training
So,
with our staff.
apologies.
No, it's okay.
I will just go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Well, we can send you a link to the
Thank
video.
you.
It's
Our
very
apologies.
inspiring.
Our IT guy is on parental leave, so our apologies.
No problem. Okay. So anyway, who we work with. We incubated ourselves out of an organization called D-Hive, which was located in the Central Business District of Detroit. We were launched in January of 2012 because there was a gap in resources, education for what we're calling community entrepreneurs. So place-based entrepreneurs, brick and mortar, lifestyle companies, micro-enterprise, social enterprise, mom and pop shops, many of the businesses we see in Ferndale. We have graduated over 1,100 ideas through our programs over the last 5.5 years. 70% women, which we're very proud of, 60% people of color, with an age range of 25 to 45, but there are some outliers in that. Our top 3 industries are food, arts, creative and culture, and retail, which we think fits really nicely into Ferndale.
So this map is just an example of where our graduates come from. So it's still in the process of constantly being updated because we graduate around 100 participants every quarter from our classes. And so right now it shows that the vast variety of individuals come from all over the metro area. And it's really showcasing that we are a very inclusive and open organization, that it doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you're passionate about seeing if entrepreneurship is a lifestyle that you want to embark on, we're here to help teach you and guide you through that process. And just as a point of reference, we've had around 30 individuals come from the city of Ferndale who have come through our program in the past 5 years as well. And we're really excited about these stats because we recently just updated this one. So out of the 1,100 graduates that have come through our program, 430 of those businesses have sustained or launched a business after coming through Build Institute. And that's around a third, but having a third is above the SBA statistics currently right now that say if you're in business more than 2 years. And so we're really proud that we've actually grown up alongside our businesses, and so we're a nimble organization that's able to adapt and really grow and create curriculums and programs and resources that really meet the growing needs of entrepreneurs. And so being able to showcase our expertise as well as knowing how to pinpoint those pain points, but also champion what those successes are for small businesses, we're really proud of.
Could you repeat that point? I'm sorry, through the chair. So you've got 430 businesses versus 1,100 students.
Yes.
And how did you say that compared to the national average?
The SBA says within 2 years, about 80% of businesses fail, if not 90. And so
thanks.
we are way above that average. We're very proud of. And through that, around 516 jobs have been created or retained as well throughout those businesses. That number is probably going to go up a little bit more because we literally just got done calculating that 430 earlier this week. And so we haven't updated the job multiplier that goes alongside of it. But we usually say it's about 1.5 jobs per business is around our average with those companies that have come through our organization. And being part of a network, we really pride ourselves that it takes a village. And our statistics say that, around 50%, over 50% of our alumni collaborate with each other. 99% have a more confident approach when it comes to business. They recommend the program to others. I don't have to belabor you with all the statistics that are on the screen, but our alumni really know that this is an organization they can come back to, that they can grow with, and they can get additional skill and knowledge from as we continue to grow and move around as well. So these are some keys that we really think sets us apart from other organizations. Being an entrepreneurial service organization, we're really focused on definitely workforce development as well as community development and economic development. And really what stands us apart is definitely equitable, I hate saying that word, equitable entrepreneurship, neighborhood engagement. So no matter what, this metro area is built around neighborhoods. Ferndale's a neighborhood, Detroit's a neighborhood, Royal Oak's a neighborhood. Everything is a neighborhood. And so really priding that we develop programs that really have the neighborhood as the main focus and developing those commercial corridors and assets and resources. The network, as we referenced quite a bit, which sets us apart with alumni of over 1,100. And then the full ecosystem, really leveraging the ecosystem, not just small businesses, but the other partners, the other ecosystem players, other funders, business support organizations. It really takes a village in order to grow a small business from a one-person shop to a 10-person shop and further on. Also, what makes it special is that we are entrepreneurship-centered design. All of us are entrepreneurs that work in the organization. All of our facilitators are entrepreneurs, and so we really walk the walk, talk the talk, and that we're for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. It's not community development trying to tell entrepreneurs how to live their life and what they need to do. All of us have been there, done that, and we know what it takes and what hard work goes into being an entrepreneur. And so really helping those individuals understand what they need to go through and understand that success is how they dictate success and that you define success as your own entrepreneur. And of course, we have to have fun. And that's the biggest point through this all is that you have to have fun. You have to enjoy what you do because a grind every day of doing something on your own, even though you have a village around you, you feel like you're on an island, but you have to enjoy it in order to continue on moving on. So it's a great Steve Jobs quote saying, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And we love what we do here at Build Institute.
Okay, so over the last 5.5 years, we have developed several programs or taken on a few programs from other organizations to provide stability. We have our own internal ecosystem that takes an idea from just simply an idea to start, to build, and to grow. And so I can go into detail about some of these programs, but the bulk of what we do is an 8-week business and project planning class that takes people through all the basics of starting and running a small business. We have run a few of these classes in Ferndale, and a couple of our success stories are the She Hive, Ursula Adams, who is on Hilton right now, and then Karen Evans, who does the Launch Professor. So she's an entrepreneurship consulting service. So as we say, start. You have to start somewhere, not everywhere. So we have several programs for folks who are in that start stage. Ideation. Do I even want to be an entrepreneur? What is it? Do I have what it takes? So those are Open City, the Co-Starters Workshop, and a soup dinner. We also have, once you decide what idea that you are passionate about, a set of programs that can take you through the build phase and launch. So Build Basics, an 8-week business and project planning class. Build Bazaars, which is similar to what Chris is doing in the Rust Belt Market, pop-up marketplace for proof of concept, building your brand, making some sales so that you can actually plug those into your business plan. And then we are the 8th largest trustee for Kiva, which is a micro lending program. So there is some funding opportunity for our grads. And then it takes a village, as Christiane said. Build alone will not launch businesses. It does take an ecosystem. So we will partner with several of the organizations on the ground in Ferndale, like the DDA, SCORE, SBA, other organizations, the library, to support and launch these businesses. Part of our Grow is pilot, so running a storefront for pop-ups to give real-world experience. And then we have something called a Grow Peer Roundtable for businesses that have launched, have revenue, and have employees. So I think this could be a great opportunity for some of the businesses that are in the room who need support to grow their business. Let's see. All right. So as Christian said, we run our classes quarterly. Step one for moving into Ferndale would be bringing together an advisory council of some of the key players in the community to find out what are the needs of the community. So we have a robust set of programs that can be tailored depending on what the community is asking for. And I guess that's it. We can open it up for questions.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at the age demographics here between the ages of 20 to 60. Now, there's a lot of younger people who want to be, want to jump into entrepreneurial ship. So is there any sort of program that's affiliated with yours maybe, or something that's out there for the people that are not in this age demographic?
So it's not listed on there, but it's under our co-starters curriculum, which is called Generator. So it is a youth curriculum using the business model canvas that allows youth, high school, middle school. It can go younger. It all depends upon how we facilitate those courses and really how you package together, just due to the attention span of young people, and really hone in on what they're interested in. But yes, we do have a curriculum. We started a pilot a little bit. And right now, we're just kind of figuring out what's the best partnerships. As April mentioned, we do it through partnerships. We don't want to just go somewhere and assume that people are ready for this type of curriculum and this type of education. And so we want to make sure that we have good strategic partners behind us and working alongside of us in order to deliver the curriculum and provide the best possible experience for those participants.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, if I may, through the chair, I've got 3 sets of statistics here. What was in the council pack, what was in the book you just handed out, and what you just told us. So I'm going with what you just told us?
Yes, okay. What you just told us.
Because the other one's public, so I just want to make sure for the folks at
Fresh
home.
off the press.
Yeah.
So the PowerPoint is more updated than the book. The book is still fresh off the press. It's like 3 months older.
17 inside the book. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why I got confused. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the partnerships. So if we were to bring the BUILD program to Ferndale, the city isn't the only organization or entity interested in growing our small businesses and entrepreneurs. So the DDA, which is well represented here tonight, the Chamber, others. Just talk a little bit about how that works and how you reach out to them and engage them and make them part of the process.
Before you have them do that, can I do a sort of a lead in to the Ferndale Small Business Collaborative? That would be an appropriate time?
Yes, and I'll add the caveat just to that point. Essentially, the nature of this partnership is to serve as a vehicle for carrying that collaborative forward. A lot of what if you recall, we had the partnership with the U of M, the school, the Citizen Interactive Design program created some recommendations for us to take the different city stakeholders, the DDA, the Chamber, the CED department, the library, and figure out a way for us to coalesce around a sustainable strategy. So what BUILD would be is one piece of that partnership, but obviously Melanie, being the impetus for the Ferndale Small Business Collaborative, would know a lot more about those details.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I created the Ferndale Small Business Collaborative in partnership with the Chamber, the DDA, the library, and the school district, as well as Michigan Works, to see what we could be doing to understand the entrepreneurial services each one was providing and where there were gaps of service or what were some common questions that we kept getting from people in the community. And we started going down a path. We created a small business council with some retailers in our downtown, brought in some guest speakers, and the BUILD Institute did an event here through the Chamber via the Small Business Collaborative. And then we realized that this was a good start, but we needed to have a broader understanding of our ecosystem, and Jordan brought in the U of M folks to look at what the ecosystem could look like and where we could fit in. And I think the BUILD Institute, with their success, cultivating entrepreneurs around the region and in Detroit, they really have shown that they have mettle and are able to really get people launched doing what they love. And full transparency, I used to work with April and Christiane at the Downtown Detroit Partnership, where the Build Institute is an affiliate program. I departed over a year and a half ago, sadly, but has always been following the Build Institute, and are really happy that we are exploring this opportunity to see how we can build on our entrepreneurial spirit in Ferndale and continue on the great work that the DDA has started of cultivating our culture of entrepreneurialism. And I really think this partnership with the Rust Belt couldn't be more perfect, because they are our retail incubator locally, but it's a private retail incubator, and I think we have something very special and unique in this business, and so we need to make sure that the folks who are setting up in the Rust Belt can become maybe a retailer in our downtown or throughout the rest of the community, and the Build Institute helps us move forward in this vein. So I'm open to exploring, and where can this partnership start?
And we, thank you, Melanie, or thank you, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Piana. I know that evaluation and rigor is very important in data and impact, and we continue to get smarter about that as we go along as well. And we have a very rigorous, we are funded by the New Economy Initiative and Quicken Loans, and we're a partner with Motor City Match and the DEGC. So we have a very rigorous data collection and reporting system, and know that our impact and our outputs are in alignment with our current partners. But I think the thing that is important to say here is that we would make sure that we would set up those systems in advance to make sure that it's very transparent and we understand what Ferndale is looking to get out of the partnership and what success looks like to Ferndale.
And I think on that point, I would just put a fine point on that I hope, because I know that council has some ideas on what we would like to get out of it and in general, but I know you are going to, because you have already, engage these other groups like the DDA and the library and the chamber and those, to make sure if we're all on the same page with what our expectations are, then we'll make sure that we have a better chance of hitting them.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? So no action required this evening. This was sort of a general overview presentation, but it's coming back.
Can we have the discussion about just in general what we're looking for?
Yes, absolutely.
And I did have a question about what's proposed in the budget. Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the pilot funding for the Rust that would be funneled for a separate storefront entry construction for the Rust Belt? What does that entail?
Sure, I can get into some of those details. And just to kind of really quickly before getting into that question, one of the idea of next steps in terms of making sure, I just want to kind of put a point on that as well, just considering we have our friends from the DDA in here as well. The intent is to have this set up. This was originally intended to be more of a workshop. Just turned into a presentation. That being said, we wanted to make sure we fleshed out the details before, and so when we knew sort of the vehicle that we were working with, the idea is to have the chamber, the DDA, the library as equal partners, sort of in the spirit of that Ferndale Small Business Collaborative. So stay tuned, guys, because we obviously want to make sure that you're heavily involved in working this out. That being said, as far as the budget, the idea would be, so the pilot program is all about, in addition to having fun and being an entrepreneur, it's important that you love the work that you do. It's also important that you can run the point of sale system, that you can deal with customers, that you can fulfill orders. So the pilot program is sort of allowing those businesses to take that enthusiasm and jump in the pool and sink or swim. And so that funding is set aside. One other partner to this would be the Rust Belt Market. And so obviously we would have to finalize an agreement with them, but we've been in discussions with Chris and Tiffany over at the Rust Belt in terms of not only using them as the venue for the classes at a discounted rate, but also potentially using their venue as the pilot space as well. And so we had set aside funds in the budget. The Rust Belt's sort of the preferred end user of that. However, the idea would be is to either create that space with a separate entry in the Rust Belt, which has been in meetings with Chris about this project. He's told me that's sort of been a desire of his to try to create an entity, a store that could have separate hours from the Rust Belt on the weekends so that they can kind of grow independently as they get stronger in their business volume. So we would kind of accelerate those plans and also be getting the discounted rate from the Rust Belt. But if it could not, for whatever reason, logistically, timing-wise, work out for putting a storefront in the Rust Belt, we would use that to provide like a rent subsidy at another commercial storefront in the downtown or somewhere nearby to create that ability for the business, getting the training from Build to simply go in, test, and see how they do.
May I ask a clarification point just tangential to that, please?
Yes.
So the space at the Rust Belt that we would be paying for, is that exclusively for the use of Ferndale businesses, or will your work from Detroit be coming up here?
That the intent would be it's for whoever signs up for the Ferndale classes. Now, obviously, that would be marketed heavily to Ferndale businesses. That's the priority. The subsidy that's in the budget for the classes would be directed toward Ferndale businesses, but anyone who signs up could come to the class.
Well, we can have a, is caveat the right word? We could say that it would be for Ferndale residents only. That's totally doable.
Sorry, Melanie.
No, that's okay.
Other questions or comments?
I do, just to talk a little bit about kind of what our expectations are. I think I withhold final judgment till Jordan, you draft the agreement, but there's, in what's been presented, and a lot of my questions were answered with your latest data, though what was in the packet is from 2015, with 2014 qualitative data in it, not quantitative. So, for example, it looks like the report in 15, the businesses anticipated to be profitable in 14 was the metric that's in here, and that's kind of dated sitting, where we are today. So I appreciate the fresh off the presses updated metrics. But as we set goals, I would really like us to be, and I know it's a tough thing to do, very specific on the quantitative size as much as possible. If you have a 40% business retention rate, that's fantastic. But let's talk about that's what the expectations are. If we can set a number on the number of jobs we hope to create, not with penalties to it, but let's be clear-cut in our goals, from this. So as much as we can get into that in the agreement, I think that keeps us all in alignment on marching orders. I got no issues with survey data. I think that's very helpful. But I wouldn't want it to be the primary push of our program evaluation in this instance.
Right.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And data, we have really awesome natural data. Once they leave our doors, that's when it gets a little more difficult. And, maybe there's some funding in place that can really be funneled towards collecting that data.
Yeah, and I have no issues with part of this money going to program evaluation. I think that's only natural.
Yeah.
And right now we're in the process of updating our CRM too. That will be more, I don't want to say intuitive, but actually user, like constituents to actually update their own profiles, which is our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way we're not the ones pushing out once a year about updating their information, that we're trying to be more proactive and kind of forming a better relationship and engagement strategy through our alumni to have them update their information real time and be more proactive in getting their current situation to us, whether they're in business, not in business, how many people do they have employed at their business, where their business is, et cetera.
And what CRM tool are you using now, or is it homegrown?
We're in evaluation mode, so our goal is to have it identified within the next month for that. But stay tuned. Okay. We'll let you know.
Right now we use Google Docs and, all the usual suspects. But now that we're at 1,100 graduates, it's getting more difficult.
I got to think that's cumbersome. Yeah. Okay.
Through the chair, if I may, one of the, other outcomes of Build Institute that I've learned is that even though if someone doesn't open a business, they go through this class, what we're doing is cultivating an entrepreneurial spirit, which we need in our region. And so someone who may not decide that their passion is actually workable into a business plan, they are leaving with a set of skills that will help them in future employment or down the road if they decide and have another awesome, passionate idea where they may be more positioned to launch that idea. So you're cultivating a long-term, knowledge base of entrepreneurialism, and that's what we would be nurturing. And I think that's more hard to quantify.
Right.
But that's part of the network, which excites me about the Build Institute. Plus, this is the first city I think the Build Institute is speaking with, and we like being first sometimes in Ferndale. And that we're entrepreneurial ourselves and that we try new things and focus on that. So I hope whatever we come up with, I think it will be awesome.
Yes, and just to add to that point real quick, so yes, not everyone who goes through a class will open a business, and we're totally fine with that. You know, if you decide that this isn't the right path for you, I'm happy that you took this class and decided before you spent thousands of dollars. But also we're cultivating that community, and we're helping to cultivate conscious consumers and conscious business support, community and ecosystem. So in the cohort, you're more likely to support a small business owner after you've gone through. So to shop at a small business, and that's really this whole idea of shop local independent businesses. Because it's one thing to get a business open. What about the other side of making sure that they have customers? And that's really, we see ourselves as business advocates. How can we tell their story? How can we drum up more interest and more business and more customers for these businesses that open?
If I may, through the chair, I agree 110% with the concept. I get where I'm coming from, just to be clear, is that we're a city on a Headley override.
Yep.
And so as quantifiable an ROI as we can get to, that's crucially important to me. So.
It is, and that's the balance really that you're striking. You want to make sure that we're investing funds wisely and that have an outcome, and yet, Councilwoman Piana, I hear what you're saying. It's been our goal to be a community that encourages entrepreneurship and small businesses and helps people come here, grow here, and so it's definitely the balance. But I appreciate Councilman Martin that outcomes are important as well. So,
And we've always been very cautious with our Headley override. So we will continue to do.
Other comments or questions? And from the audience, by the way, if not just doesn't have to be just from us. They're waving at you, Barry. But I know you're familiar with the program. So come on up.
Guys, time here, but yeah, I know when I first started working here, I met with April 2 years ago now, I think it was. I know when I go on these retention visits, this is one of the programs that I've talked to several people about. It sounds like maybe some of them are taking advantage of it, so that's good. But no, it's a great program. We're happy to support and promote it, and going forward, we'll be your partners in it too. So.
Excellent. No, thank you. Good. Well, more to come, I guess, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah. So next steps are what?
Next steps will be, we're going to send council a draft agreement, both with Build and with Rust Belt, for your consideration. We'll make sure that we put special emphasis on the metrics that we'll put in there. There's a little bit of food for thought on that in your packets, but we will give you this document to react to. And then when we feel like it's ready, it hits the right mark, a funding request with those agreements will come before you, and we'll get ourselves in a position, as long as council is comfortable, we will ideally try to wrap up the agreements in the summer, talk about recruitment and promotion in the fall, and we would push play on the programming in the winter, assuming that we got to a point where we felt like it was working.
Cool. Excellent. Great. So no action required this evening. So thank you both for coming. That wasn't so painful, right? All right. Good to see you. And that concludes our regular agenda item this evening. So we'll move on now to call to council. And I know our chief is still here. Chief, anything else for the good of the community this evening? All right. Lorena, we didn't get your presentation, but is there anything else that you would like to share with the community around recreation programs this evening?
Next time.
Yes.
So
we look forward to it.
Great. I just have one announcement of an upcoming event that we have coming up. Is Come Out and Play and Meet Ferndale Parks and Recreation. And we'll be holding 4 events throughout July and August. The first event will be on July 22nd, and it'll be, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Capoeira with our own Jacob and Shelby. It's like a martial arts type of dance. I have, don't let me tell you what it is. You can read it right here on the flyer. So I put flyers in the back of the room, and I have flyers for you as well. And then we also have strongman competition training, which is a family affair for all ages. That'll be led by our own Lisa Bryant, the Deputy Director of Parks and Rec, and she'll be bringing a lot of special guests as well. And then we have Hula Hoop Fitness with myself and Marnie, and that'll be on August 9th. And we have geocaching with Michael Eby and Emmanuel Johnson from our office, which will be on August 16th. And so all ages, all levels
you talk about what geocaching is?
So basically, you will have a device where they're going to hide different things throughout the park, and then you use your device to find them. So if you kind of think of like the Pokemon fad that was going around, something similar to that.
All right, great.
Now, I want to know more about Marnie and the hula hoop.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, you got to come check us out.
Thank you.
I believe Councilman Pollock and I could do a hot dog eating contest if you'd like to.
I'm up for that.
So I have flyers in the back, and I have extras for you guys if you want them now or.
Yeah, if you bring them up to Marnie, that would be great. Thank you. All right, thanks, Marina. That's it? That's it. Excellent. Jenny, anything from HR this evening?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to share with you an updated program that we've launched out of our department for our wellness initiative for this summer. Last week, on July 1st, we launched our Summer Fitness Challenge. We currently have 27 employees participating in this challenge, and what it involves is a Garmin smartwatch that employees are wearing to track their steps. They're scheduled to do at least 10,000 steps at least 3 days a week for a 3-month period of time. It's all tracked through one system, so we can all see what kind of steps everyone's got. This week, in our first week, we as a group walked a total of 1,679,074 steps. The most steps for this week were walked by one of our own police officers who walked over 106,000 steps.
What?
And he also made the highest per day average of over 25,000.
He put that on his dog.
Pretty impressive.
There's a Chihuahua at home with a Garmin on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's amazing. Was
we're
that
really
you, Chief?
He went horseback riding.
All right, there's a horse with a Garmin on it.
So what's been really cool is just exactly this. It's really created an environment in just a week of a lot of interdepartmental communication and kind of morale boosting, and really it's forced the people who are participating to get up and move, which is really nice.
We need a council challenge.
I was here to make you aware of it and see if anybody is interested on council in joining our challenge. I'd be more than happy to send you out the link. And if you have a device that you want to link in, we can definitely add you to that challenge. So thank you for always supporting our wellness initiatives. And next council meeting as well, we'll be bringing forward our presentation of our annual Care Here report, which kind of ties in some of that data. So we'll look forward to future reports on how we're doing. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jenny. Fire Marshal Batten, anything from the fire department this evening? Nothing today. All right. Jordan, anything else from your department today? All right. And finance, I had a lot last week, but more good stuff this week from finance. Cheryl. Twice.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tax bills went out as scheduled June 30th. So if you haven't gotten your tax bill, reach out to us and we can print you another one. Same as last year, we sent out the coupons again this year. So if you didn't get your coupons, you can reach out to us and we can print those for you at the office. One note I wanted to say, we had a computer glitch with some of our water bills in Section 3. So water users got water bills that were possibly incorrect. The system was correct, online it was correct, just the printing of the bills was incorrect. So we sent out a new series of bills. They say revised on them, and they also included a letter from me explaining what happened. Some people may have paid their bills already. If you overpaid your bill, then there's going to be a credit on your next quarter bill. And if you have any questions, you can always call us at the Water Department. It's extension 129, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
And just so people know, what's Section 3?
Well, it's all the water bills that your account number begins with 3. I'm not sure where it's located. I just know that your account number begins with 3.
I think it's mostly on the southeast side from what I saw.
Yeah, it must be between like Woodward and Hilton, because the people that I got were from that area. myself included.
The other thing is I want to thank you for bringing that to our attention so quickly, because we were able to get right on top of it and get new bills out.
Thank you, Cheryl.
That's all I have.
What happened with me too, and I'm not on Southeast.
So it really is.
So it must
just
be,
kinda-
must be random.
Anything else from parking this evening? No. All right. Kara, anything from communications, community engagement? All right. Anything else from DPW this evening? I heard we're getting special presents soon.
Monday, yes.
Monday.
The 17th, that's the new recycle carts are scheduled to start being delivered. It'll start Monday in that collection area and continue on until all carts are delivered.
Excellent.
Last week we experienced a delay in curbside brush chipping. We have a new contractor in town that actually started today. It's Asplund. They started Monday, and Monday's route chipping branches. They're going to continue on until Friday, and at that point, all piles out in the city should have been picked up, and we'll be on a normal schedule.
Yeah. Excellent. Any questions for DPW this evening?
Can you talk about, or maybe it's more of a question for Kara, about the communications plan? So if I just suddenly have this giant new bin show up at my doorstep, how do I know what it's for?
Kara knows the answer to that.
I'm sure she did.
I just wanted to hear her talk.
I like to hear me talk too. Yes, so there's been a lot of kind of elaborate planning. We did a kind of a soft launch when we found out the date of when the bins were going out. So there was a little video that aired, and we, kind of did a big collaboration with that. Every resident, when they receive their new bin, is going to get a communication. It's a laminated piece attached to the bin. It's got all the instructions about how to use it. It's got contact information. And then also there's going to be a letter from us with kind of further explanation about, the same questions we're getting over and over. What do I do with my old bin? Can I still use the old bin? All that kind of stuff. As well as that, Soccer's actually releasing a small microsite that's going to answer all of those questions. So as soon as that's up and running, we're going to communicate that to residents so that they know where they can go for all the extra information they need.
Thank you.
I have a question of Kara, please. So you and I kind of talked about this a while back, and I just hope part of that communication is the importance of recycling and how it financially benefits the city.
Yes.
I hope that communication is part of...
That communication is not part of this initial piece that they're going to get,
Okay.
because we want to make sure that the messaging is very much, here it is, here's how you use it, kind of keeping things simple. But I am working with Sarah Donovan, who is the recycling intern, I believe, for the city. And we've been putting together a piece that will allow us to do a story specifically about that, potentially a video as well. So we can look at how many pounds or gallons, what the cost savings is versus when people throw things out, how we can improve it, the health benefits, the cost benefits, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to do that as kind of a supplemental about 6 weeks after the launch of the bins, and kind of continue the messaging and branch out into that. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Karen. Anything else? Awesome, thank you. Marnie Hula Hoop McGrath.
Actually, I'd just like to thank Lorena for reaching out and inviting me to be part of this program. I'm really excited about it, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Excellent. April, anything for the city manager's office?
No, Joe apparently needs to come back sooner than later.
Dan.
Just one item, Mayor. At the next council meeting, there will be a presentation and workshop with respect to staff recommendations regarding medical marijuana facilities. So that will be on your next agenda.
Thank you. Dan, Councilman Martin.
No, nothing tonight.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lakes May.
Nothing this evening.
All right. Councilman Pollica.
One thing directed at April, however, this might be a question for Lorena. Park rangers. For the last several years, we've hired park rangers for the summer to kind of go through the parks, make sure that the restrooms are open, clean, identify any equipment that are broken. Is that still happening? Because I'm getting reports from people where the restrooms are closed or they haven't been cleaned, and it seems like in a while.
Okay. Do you have any information on that? We were using seasonals, but I'm not sure if we've had to alter. There's one bathroom that's closed, though, because of a water main
Wilson?
break, so is it more than just that one?
Is it Wilson?
Which one is the one that's?
No, it's Martin Road's Dreamfield bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, because I've been
How's it
having
getting
complaints that Wilson's restroom has been closed.
We have park rangers. We have them during the day. Anything that happens at night, since we're on overtime a lot, we have staff here until 6, 7 o'clock. Anything else after that, Rocky and another key employees on call. The issue with the bathrooms are we have those automatic locks. So if I were to leave and bump the lock on accident, when that door closes, you can't get back in without having someone override it or have a card or a key to get in. You can do it remotely, but there's a security issue with that. If there's somebody in there and we unlock that door and they should not be gaining access to that bathroom while there's someone in there, that's why we send someone out there to physically do it and make sure everything's kosher.
Okay.
The bathrooms are getting cleaned almost daily.
So maybe if you could just
May have
let
just
us
been a
know, like,
fluke.
give us that feedback, because it could be a fluke where maybe there was just a party there, or they're just being a random day, but we will double check to make sure. But yeah, it is being dealt with this year. We shifted a little bit, where I think in the last few years we had very specific people for park rangers, but now we're using the whole seasonals because sometimes they're not busy, and just kind of use them in a better way. So please do let us know if you're experiencing dirty or locked bathrooms, so we can identify what's going on.
Okay,
But
great.
we are doing that, yep.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Mayor Pro Tem Piana.
Yeah, I've received a couple emails from individuals who are residents who were displeased of the loud bangs over the fireworks, excessive noise. But I've also heard about people making very large firework towers in the middle of the streets and lighting them off. And they didn't report them to the police, and so I don't know if people feel comfortable reporting violations if they see them. And I was asked if we can also limit the type of firework in Ferndale, really the large booms. And I told the resident, no, the state law presides over local law. But is there something that are we enforcing the after hours limits that the state law puts on us? So no fireworks after midnight, right? Or right? Before the day of and the day after. And so are we putting out fines or to the residents that are reported or caught in action?
We are advising and then ticketing if necessary.
Okay.
But most folks, they get under a lot of folks are under the impression that they're legal, so they can light them off wherever they want. So we have them in the street, in the parks, on private property that doesn't belong to them. Some of it's education, some of it has to be enforcement. The only bright light that we have on this or bright light at the end of the tunnel is that the state legislator is rethinking this.
Yes.
We are, the law enforcement community is strong, I believe the fire services as well, strongly behind changing this legislation. It was misguided, in our opinion, from the start. And I was up north during the holiday, and it was like probably just as bad up there as it was here. It got so annoying up there that it just shut everything down. It was, but I didn't experience it down here, but I have, so I know what it can be like on that.
One more question, follow up on that. Is it state law that you can't put it in the street, or do we need to sort of tighten up our ordinance to say that you cannot use the street as a launch pad for your fireworks?
That's part of the state law, is that public property is not allowed on public
Okay, so it's covered
property.
under that. So maybe
Yes.
for our annual update, your street is not NASA?
Or sidewalk.
Launch pad?
Or 3:30 in the morning, an appropriate time to launch something on Pearson Street.
From the, not to speak for the fire service,
Your
but
street is not NASA.
that's what our problem is that in close quarters, firing these things off in your driveway in your backyards becomes a fire issue. So
Yeah.
not only does it annoy your neighbors, there's a safety issue that's involved as well.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks.
All right. And I don't have anything else this evening. So with that, our meeting is adjourned.